Welcome to Ctrl Alt Delete. Reset your mind, reset your life. This is Coach Stefan Rudolph, and a special guest today is Ksenia Muench.
Again, we have to remember that I'm working with women who are in a codependent relationship, who's been manipulated, gaslit. So you don't really get an itch usually because you're in a situation where your world is presented to you the way they want you to see it. So you're never enough. You cannot exist without them. Nobody will ever love you more than they do. So like you live under that impression. So the itch doesn't fully apply or resonate with you unless you've been in an abusive relationship and you can recognize it faster. That's a different dynamic.
Ctrl Alt Delete. Reset your mind, reset your life. The program itself is focused on starting over in life, beginning again in life, being a newborn in life when you have times of hardship, times of change, and times of challenge. The word change is in challenge. Focus on that and understand that, and take change as a personal step of growth in your life. Our next guest here is Ksenia Muench. She is a wonderful divorce coach with her company called Thrive Again Divorce Coaching, focused on helping women start over in life, get through their old life, and begin a new life. Wherever you are in the divorce process, Ksenia can help. She has been there and knows exactly what you are going through.
Basically working with women who don't want to do one-on-one and who want to work in a more supportive environment, where I just created this intensive where we talk about every single pillar of high conflict divorce, whether it's how to ground yourself, because you do need to learn how to self-soothe and bring yourself back to core so you can start thinking more clearly versus like doing a lizard brain when you're completely in a fog and you have fatigue of all the decision making. Then we talk about the symptoms of high conflict divorce and how to recognize them. So to understand, to also almost like diagnose what exactly you're going through, because once you know where you're at, you understand what you need to do. Because the biggest thing is what you do not know. You just know something's off, but you do not have a name for it. And then we talk about the co-parenting do's and don'ts. We talk about co-parenting, parallel co-parenting, the boundaries to establish with a high conflict ex. Then we're talking about the litigation, how to prepare for court, what the judges are looking for, how to behave, how to also work with minors counsel. So anything you want to know or you need to know when going through high conflict litigation, that's the intensive we're going through. And also how to rebuild yourself after. And it's not only like because I work with women, we're going to talk some dating, but the big part is what to anticipate once divorce is signed, because the shed is not over. It goes for years. The continued filing motions, the harassment, the stalking, the threats, the restraining orders.
And I just want to introduce Ksenia because we had just met recently on Facebook or social media, everything else, and I saw her program, Thrive Again Divorce Coaching. You're a coaching practice and you specialize in high conflict, high stakes divorce, designed specifically to support women during separations. It focuses on emotional grounding, financial empowerment, and strategic legal preparation, right?
Yep.
And that's exactly what she's doing out here. So I thought it was a great connection here and wanted to have her on my show here for Coach Stefan Rudolph, for recovered coaching, for starting over, and what I call Ctrl Alt Delete. Reset your mind, reset your life. And we'll continue on for what you do. What I call it is not my ex. I can't even say that anymore. It's my former wife or my former, say, girlfriend. The ex is replaced with a more positive term of former. And we try to just move on and grow on. But that's what you help women with, right?
Yes. Well, for them, it's almost like I teach women how to disconnect and be completely neutral and indifferent. So we can't even call them my ex. It has to be the ex. It has to be such a neutral approach that you no longer associate yourself with that person. And the reason is because it's a high conflict dynamic, which again is a code word for abuse. It means some sort of abuse, whether it's emotional, psychological, financial.
She understands the challenges
legal.
you are facing and the emotional roller coasters that you are riding. We've all been there and done that in one relationship or another. Divorce, breakups, long relationships, short relationships, in one way or another, we understand. This is a wonderful interview about her life, her passion, and her story. Ksenia will go in detail about how she found herself filing for divorce and ending her 16-year marriage. What she thought would be a fairly straightforward mediation with a final settlement signed after cooling off period turned out to be an ugly, lengthy litigation. During her divorce journey, she was overwhelmed not only by the roller coaster of emotions, but also by how much she was learning. She was going through and growing through different parts of her life, but at the same time it was very difficult at that present moment in life. She found how divorce touches every component of your life. She learned more than she could ever have imagined about the legal process, the mental resilience, the finances, and building a new life. Building it through patience, building it through understanding, and building it through acceptance. She found how to guide and protect her children through this emotional maze as well. Even through the curves in life, she is the navigation partner and knows how to build a plan to not only survive, but thrive during and after. Welcome our new guest, Ksenia Muench, to the show, and if you have any questions, please feel free to note them on here, subscribe, like, and share this to others, and put your feelings, thoughts, and questions in the comments below, and we'll definitely get back to you. Her contact information is below as well, and we look forward to a wonderful interview.
All elements are present. You have to disconnect yourself from being codependent and co-tied to the person. So yes, I teach my clients to neutralize the X. So
Okay.
it becomes
Yeah.
just the.
Yeah, it just
There is no
becomes,
softness.
starting a new life, right? And
Yes,
one
exactly.
of the
It's a
questions,
reset.
it's kind of a funny term that you've always heard of, the 7-year itch in marriage. Do you find that applicable? I'm starting this right away because I dated for 7, was married for 7, and then went through 7 years of, my own problems. But do you find that as
Yes.
a common year period from 5 to 7 years, or how often are people married, would you say? How long?
I've heard about that, and when I was married for 16 years, and
Mhm.
when I was hitting like the 7 year, I was like, oh my gosh, I wanted to make sure I don't start like itching about that. So for me, it was not a problem. Also, for people I'm working with, again, we have to remember that I'm working with women who are in a codependent relationship, who's been manipulated, gaslit. So you don't really get an itch usually because you're in a situation where your world is presented to you the way they want you to see it. So you're never enough. You cannot exist without them. Nobody will ever love you more than they do. So, like, you live under that impression. So, they each doesn't fully apply or resonate with you unless you've been in an abusive relationship and you can recognize it faster. That's a
Yeah.
different dynamic. But I've seen like women living the relationship. It takes on average a decade or more to
Okay.
process and actually accept that that shit is not normal. What I do know about 7 year cycle, it's a cellular cycle. So I
Right.
am almost 6 years post separation. So I'm almost fully free from the past life on a cellular level because cells renew every 7 years.
Yeah,
So
that's it.
that one is, I'm
Very
almost
connected.
there, which is great. So when I'm working with women, you kind of have to, yes, it's a long haul
You
and
have to
there
mention
will be
that because
triggers.
in sobriety too. So I found that out because studying sobriety and the physical element of alcohol being in your spine and your system for 5 to 7 years too. But I found it kind of connecting that after divorce and after becoming someone new, I thought it took me so many years to start over. And that's what
Yes.
you help with is a newborn you. But it's 5 to 7 years, 6, 7 years later. It doesn't need to be exact, but you're kind of like this new person and you're having to start over, right?
It's a learning to walk all over again because when you get out of and whether it's amicable or cordial divorce or whether it's a high conflict, you are disoriented. I think your entire world is upside down, right? You were a partner and now you're single. But when you're a woman and if you have kids, all of a sudden, like you're no longer a mom half the time. So you're
Mhm.
no longer a partner full time. You're now some sort of human who is divorced. There is a shame associated with that for whatever reason. And you're just trying to figure out what the hell happened, making decisions, trying to now live your life without a male support, which again, I know a lot of women, I'm strong. Listen, I'm strong as a bull and I still want male support. Like,
Right.
it's not easy to do everything
We
by
have to have
yourself.
the
Like,
yin and the
yes,
yang. We have to have both.
yeah. I mean, yesterday I was so excited. I fixed like the jewelry broke and I have all the tools, like the screwdrivers and everything. I fixed it. I was like, yay. But I'm like, I wish I didn't do this, yay. I wish somebody else did
Where's
it
my
for me,
man?
I know. And
Yeah.
I'm like, there's a hole in the wall. I don't want to plaster it. I can, but I don't want to. So
Yeah.
I think it's just, yes, learning how to walk, and it does take time to regrow, to regenerate on cellular level. And I think we just need to be patient, and patience, like it's not my virtue. It's been struggling in some instances. And you know what I recently discovered, and I actually wrote about it on Substack, how much your body keeps score. So you said about 5 to 7 years, right? I'm not sure how it works, like when you are going through sobriety, and how that recovery goes. But when you are going through abusive relationship recovery, I recently went and I did a cosmetic procedure. Never done anything in my life, but I'm like, it's just kind of like blood transfusion. I kid you not, my body went into a full feral panic mode. She could not penetrate the skin. My blood was clotting. I was fainting. I was hyperventilating. And I'm like, what the hell is happening? And she's like, that's your PTSD talking. And I'm like, oh, oh, I thought I was fine because years of therapy. This one
Yeah.
gets it. Your body is like, I did not get the memo. That one did not feel comfortable. So let me show you. Let me remind you. So now
Mhm.
it was a blessing. It was a gift to me because now when I know something like this, I feel on edge. I now know I need to prepare my body because it remembers, it triggers. So I have to take extra steps to prepare not only this one, but my body to be calm and not threatened. But again,
Yeah.
who knew? I thought
Well,
I
we
was
think of
fine.
that when we think of divorce. We think I think of attorneys of divorce, a paper of legalities, divorce
Hmm.
coaching in a sense, because if we live in the past, we become in the past. We died in the
Yep.
past. So that's the drinking. That's the stupid thinking. That's also what I started attracting here in the past 5 to 7 years was a lot of women friends from my life in high school, college years ago that were married to narcissists. So this is a key word, the narcissist, the alcoholism, addiction, the problems, like you said earlier, manipulating a woman to not think there's a problem, not making them feel good enough. I've dealt with a
Yeah.
lot of narcissists in my family, from my biological father, from issues in my life, to having
Hmm.
to accept him or accept them. And so you help the same way. Maybe you can kind of touch
Yep.
on that area for women.
Yes, I help. I'm not as, probably from our conversation right now. You can hear I'm not very cuddly when it comes to that. I am here to help people to be empowered, to find
Yes.
to get into the driver's seat and be in control in their own life. And I can give a quick example. So I'm into CrossFitting. Like CrossFitting saved my sanity when I started going through
Yeah.
divorce. And if you're familiar with the CrossFit community, during Memorial Day, everybody does Murph, which is
Mhm.
1 mile run, 100 pull-ups, 200 push-ups, 300 air squats, 1 mile run. Never done it. I always thought, and I'm like, I just don't want to put my body through it. And here's my partner like, you want to do it? And I'm like, sure, it sounds great. Why not? And so I was fatigued. But here is what I want people to think when they're thinking about divorce coach and how I operate. I was injured, so like my push-ups were struggling. And he offered, he's like, hey, I'm gonna do some push-ups for you. And this is where I want my clients to be. My response was, no, those are mine. I'm gonna take a little longer, but I'm gonna finish every single one of them. And he stood by my side and he counted me down 198, 199, 200. While I was struggling, I completed every single one of them. And that's who I am for women. When you're going through divorce, I am here to be by your side every step of the way, but you're accountable and you own your life. You own the direction you are going. I am not here to do things for you. I'm not here to advocate for you. I'm going to give you tools and be your support and be your cheerleader. But that's your job. Your job is to build the life that you want. You just need resources and
Yeah,
tools to employ while you're learning to walk again. That's
exactly.
that's how I work with
The
women.
new life, the new start, right?
Yeah. Yeah. It's
Yeah.
not always fun when you think about it, right? Change is hard. Like I
Mhm.
personally like change because I feel things get stale. So I do like changing things up a little bit. But it is just for me. But new start, new beginning, and the uncertainty with all of that. I think that's the scariest part because a lot of times when you go through divorce, you just, I do not know what's around the bend. What's next? I don't
Yeah,
know.
well, this is connected in the part of life coaching and recovery coaching that's very really connected because what I say physically, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, financially. So there's five
Yes.
areas in life, and I was very successful in 20% financially at one point. We had a wonderful marriage up to a point, before it fell
Mm-hmm.
apart because of my drinking, but it was physically, mentally, emotionally, and spiritually I was lost. So when I started over and lost everything financially, I had to start over and redo my mind again. And one thing I'd like to touch on too that you can help with is starting over. And when you start over as a woman or anybody through divorce, dating and starting a new life and not living in a
Mm,
PTSD, so to speak, or I call it post-traumatic dating disorder or marriage disorder, whatever you want to call it,
yeah.
but not basing your past relationship on all men are like this, all men are like
Mm-hmm.
that. Do you help women with that too?
Yes, and that's a big part of it because a lot of times women, just like men, when they get out of their relationship, and there is this codependency mindset, and there is also like societal pressure if you're a partner to you're successful, like you have to break so many patterns to be okay to start dating. And if you are not able to say no, you're not ready to date. And so when I work with women, especially who are living the abusive relationship, I had to do myself. You have to go into full hermit mode for a little bit to first to understand what happened, to understand your triggers, and to understand what feels familiar, because you will be dating the same type of person, different face, and you're gonna complain about it, and it's just gonna ruin the trust in yourself. So it's
Yes.
not that the picker is broken. You just really need to realign yourself with what happened, why it happened, and what you're looking for going forward. How does your body is supposed to feel when you're with somebody safe in a healthy relationship? And in order for you to do that, it's a lot of work. It's yes, you will kiss some frogs. I mean, it
Yeah.
is what it is,
Yeah.
but you truly need to take time to yourself because you will act based on PTSD. And you will run away from good men because they feel boring, they feel safe. You will be drawn to, again, drama and some sort of dopamine hit because they don't respond or they respond. Y- That you need to understand what the red flags actually are. The butterflies in your tummy, that's a red flag. Like, right,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah,
So
the
with women,
anxiety,
it's, yep.
yeah, go ahead.
So with women working with them, it's very difficult because they think they know. We think we know what we want. We think we know
Mhm.
best, right? But I truly we have to reset, like you said, Control Alt Delete. You
Yeah.
you have to
Mhm.
wipe out that wiring because the PTSD, the CPTSD, everything that your body remembers, it will play out in your dating
It
life.
keeps
And
attracting it. The law of attraction, we call it in the
yeah,
secret and other things like that. And people say, "Well, I don't believe in that. That's, I want $1 million. I want a man. Where's my man?" It doesn't happen like that. We keep attracting that past
hmm,
relationship until we acknowledge it, face it, erase it, accept it,
yes,
replace it. Those are my acronyms for fear. Face, erase, accept, replace. And then that's
that's
what you help
perfect.
women with. Yeah,
Yeah.
because there's a fear and we live in it. And I kept attracting, for example, closet alcoholic women, and I was dating and then it was an alcoholic and I'm like, why? But I didn't get mad at them or get mad at, I was just like, how can I had to do my own
Get
control
out of
alt
there.
delete.
Yeah.
Why was I
You
doing this? I had to
you're right.
ask.
You attract people like I when I got out, I started attracting unavailable, whether
Mhm.
emotional unavailable, whether they're married. Well, that's a different story. Like married men, there is just something, they feel so um safe, immune. They almost like they have immunity to approach you,
Yeah,
because if you say no, they're like, well, I'm married,
I'm
that's why. So
married.
it's not like
I
personal rejection, right?
want
But
to have
hey, I'm gonna
fun.
still
I'm
shoot my
married. I want
shot.
to have
Maybe,
fun.
maybe. So I was attracted that a lot. And as I was going through healing, and again, years of therapy, I did EMDR, I did so many things just to try, like, to unlayer all the pieces of this puzzle. I am getting to the point. I actually want to record a video. You heal so much, you find very few men attractive. And when I work with women who did a lot of work, we all say the same thing. It's very difficult right now to find an attractive man, because it's not even this. It's how emotionally mature they are, how our bodies feel around them, how consistent they are. There are so many attributes, not the physical characteristics, that go with that. And sometimes it's like almost impossible. You truly go into a full nunnery mode, like, and you just don't date. I've been single for almost 6 years, and it's been some of it on purpose, and some of it I'd rather be single than waste myself on people that I don't align with. And that's when I work with women, I say, this is when you're ready. If you can say no to just going to dinner just because somebody asked you, that's when you're truly ready to explore the healthy potential of a relationship.
Well, here's my marketing mind. I'm always working, and I heard you say this.
Okay.
You can say no, 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 no go. So there, if you can't say no, you can't go, right? So if there's no no
Mm-hmm.
in your life, you don't know how to do it. There's no go when you're dating. And I agreed. Something funny about social media too is in Facebook, and you look up, sometimes it says single, and if I see a woman that says single, then I know she's ready to mingle, so to speak. And that
Yep.
because you're posting that. And
Yep.
in divorce itself, I never put divorced, and I think I put single, but it's not a big deal. I've never changed it, kind of like you. Since divorce, I've never changed it to in a relationship. But when we see people in a relationship, I think we feel happy for them. I
Mm-hmm.
do. I'm like, well, good. Hopefully I wish them the best.
Yep.
And you can kind of resonate with that then, and how you help women kind of take it to the next level
Yep.
is starting a new relationship and not basing it on the past, right?
Yes, it is. It's a skill. It's like a skill that you have to learn. And
Mhm.
it's not always easy, because there is so much fear. There is so much fear because we as women, we're more vulnerable when it comes to relationship than a man. And I'm not trying to make it like gender specific, but that's what it is. Because when a woman goes on a date, what is she thinking? Is he a serial killer? Am I safe? What else can
Yeah.
happen to me? Am I going to get drugged? Right? Like, this is how a woman thinks when she's going to meet a guy. What is guy thinking?
Mhm.
What does she look like naked?
Yeah. It's like, well, what's going to happen
You,
tonight? What's going to, it's like,
yeah. Am I going to get like it? Right? So
yeah.
like, it's for women, there is so much fear present that, number one, again, it's not putting yourself in a position where you feel not safe, but also just in a relationship, like when it comes to sexual connections and relationships, again, women kind of have more to lose. So
Hmm.
and you can never get it right, because if you sleep too much with people, you're a slut, right? If you don't sleep enough, what's wrong with you? Nobody wants you, and you're like, but I just what it's the judgment on the women is absurd, to be honest.
Yeah.
And just working with women and trying to don't pay attention to the noise, focus on yourself. And when you are in that space, when you truly, like law of attraction, right? When you
Hmm.
are fine with whichever outcome, I'm fine being by myself. I'm fine if relationship comes in. Great. This is the best place to attract, and this is the best place when you can also go start dating, because you're discerning and you're truly ready, and you can pinpoint and read flags more accurately than if you're like, oh my gosh, I want to date somebody, you know?
Yeah, sometimes in my case too, it was I'll show her there's a vindictive quality, not just in men, but I think also in any relationship. When you get divorced, you want to go on to something better, right? Of
Yeah.
course, you want to have a better man, a better woman. But my thing was like, well, I'm going to go make more money. I'm going to show her I can do this and I can be more successful. And it was like a quality of look at me, when we have to focus on ourselves. And that's why I say you have to love
Hmm.
yourself before you can love others. So when
Hmm.
somebody says, "Are you in a relationship?" Sometimes I joke and say, "Yeah, with
With
myself."
myself. Yeah.
Right? So
Hmm.
focus on yourself, and that's how you help women. Maybe you can tell us a little bit about your divorce coaching program, or give us an example if you want, of how you work with women too, specifically, and what you do.
Well, with women, um, when I do one-on-one coaching, they come in with me to me with whatever issue. So I almost approach it. It's not a therapy session; it's a strategy call. But we're
Hmm.
working on one issue. So whatever comes up, whether it's one woman was she approached me and she just was on a dating role and she was getting burned out, but she also was afraid of being alone, and so she was caught in this. Mindset of I can't be alone, so I have to keep going. But then she started finding herself just sleeping with multiple men, and she was not happy with herself. So like she didn't feel good about this, even though like on the outside it looked great. So we spent actually a couple hours, just talking
Hmm.
her through number one, what's the true fear of being alone? Like, is it because you don't like being on your own with your thoughts? Is it because you feel the need to be validated that somebody wants you? Is it the physical touch? So we were trying to go deep down into what exactly was driving that behavior. And when we got to the bottom of it, that she was kind of missing being cuddled in a way. Well, we came up with a great idea. I said, go and get yourself a love sack. And this is the best thing that she's like, that was the best decision I've ever made. So
A
now
love
she's
sack?
actually
What is
dating.
that?
Yeah. Love sack. It's like a pillow sack. Have you seen? It's like a
Oh,
ginormous pillow. And when you lay down, it truly looks like a pillow, but it's a human size. You can do two or three people on it, depending on the size you
yeah.
get. But when you lay
Okay.
down, you feel like you're in a cocoon. So somebody is if somebody's hugging you and holding you, and you feel very
Okay.
safe. So
Hmm.
it's almost like the place where you can um, if you want to watch a movie, if you want to like read a book, or if you just want to relax with the tea, it truly feels like you are being held just because of the way it's structured. And so when she got it, she's like, that was the best decision. So she stopped that compulsive dating. And she now is dating the guy she's in love with. He adores her. And she finally found the quality relationship, but it was after like the frogs and going on a spiral a little bit. And so when I worked with her again, we just went exactly what's driving the decisions. We're looking for solutions. We don't judge. Mm-mm. If you listen, we're
Yeah.
gonna make mistakes because we're humans. And even now, she comes back. I saw her a couple weeks ago, and she's like, "Oh my gosh, I can't believe like you need to meet my guy, and you're so incredible, and it was so helpful to talk to you." And that's kind of how I work with women. So it
You
depends
help
on
with
the
the
issue.
kind of you kind of help, it sounds like, with a vision board and redoing their own
Hmm.
life or their own view of them. Because sometimes if we don't love ourselves again, we can't love others. And there's a
Hmm.
void. And in some of my writing, I've talked about a void, like you avoid something, you avoid, but there's a void in life that you have
Yes.
to fill. And some people fill it by just a quick relationship, and then 2 months later, they're reposting single again, or they're reposting in a relationship, and you're like watching these people going, "What's up?" And so it's just back and forth, but you have to love yourself. You got to find who you really are, is what I found in my journey.
Well, let me ask you a question as a life coach. So let's say a lot of women, a lot of people, and I will talk women because that's again, that's who I am and that's who I work with. You get so depleted when going through divorce by giving to everybody, right? You're if you have kids, you need to make sure they're okay because you're still your emotional core of the family nucleus, and your children are your nucleus. You are trying to give to yourself, and we get burned out, we get depleted. How do we replenish ourselves?
Well, we have to start over. And that's a great question, because starting over is sometimes replenishing ourselves. That means, rebooting yourself, that Control Alt Delete, restarting over. But actually, it's not starting over completely. The past is now
Mm-mm.
past. So we can't live in the past, and we can't focus on the future. We do have to have goals and work. But look what's in now. I've found this out personally. The past is depression, the future is anxiety. So if we sit here and
Yep.
focus on the future too much, what if, and then coulda, shoulda, woulda, And I think it was Tony Robbins said, then you should all over yourself because, you should have done this, should have done that. You can't get out of it. And so what I
Mm-hmm.
focus on in replenishing myself is saying that I journal,
Okay.
meditate, work out, focus on myself, but not making sure it's not a narcissistic type of view of me, but I want to feel good about things. Saturday,
Mm-hmm.
for example, I went worked out in the morning. I played ultimate frisbee in the afternoon. I played racquetball in the afternoon. I did everything for me, but then also focusing on that's for my health. And when I'm healthy, I feel better. And
Mm-hmm.
that's replenishing and then loving yourself more. And where is she? I don't have a she, but I'm not focused on that because if I do, that can lead to some depression or it can lead to
Yeah.
some, I hope I'm not like this in the future, cuddling with a big pillow for the rest of my life. And, there has to be
It's a
something real.
temporary solution. Listen, and kids and
I
dogs
know,
love
and
that
it's a
too.
good visual. It's a good visual, like, but that's I think if that answers your question of what I'm doing,
Mm-hmm.
just focusing one day at a time to be a better
Yeah.
person to myself. Treat yourself. I even did this because I read it somewhere. Buy flowers, have your place looking good. Give it to
I do that.
yourself, right? Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And now I see these roses out there in the kitchen, and I'm like, okay, great. I'm smelling them. And
Mm-hmm.
guys, especially masculinity, will think it's weird or it's lame or whatever the words may be, but it's not to me. I'm just trying to like, refurbish and redo my life in that area.
Yeah. I do I try to do the same for myself the same. I see flowers, always get flowers. Just because I enjoy it. I like it. I like the way it smells, I like the way it looks. Um I bake myself. I like to bake, so I'm like, "Oh, I'll make myself Napoleon cake or a carrot cake or a banana bread." So
Yeah,
I'll do that just because I'm enjoying and I know it's for me. But with women, it's we have a mental block of giving ourselves a permission. Because a lot of times we're like, is it okay to do it for us? Because we're so wired, biology wise, we are wired to give and nurture, especially during our childbearing years. We're just givers at this point because that's how our bodies are built. But for whatever reason, we are struggling to allow ourselves to take care of ourselves. It's a
right.
really bizarre because I talk to women and it's almost like when they know something's off, they know they want to do this, and it's like, well, go do it. And they're like, oh, you mean I can? Yeah, you
I
can.
know
And
you
they're like, oh my
can.
gosh,
Yeah.
that's the best thing. But I talk to so many women, and whether it's at work, not all the women, but a lot of women, it's like failure to ask or fear of being inconvenient or too much. Again, we're going back to the judgment portion, right? How women are viewed. If you ask too much, you're a bitch, right? If while the
Mhm.
guy is like confident, right? It's a really weird
Yeah.
dynamic. But the women, the permission is a big deal. And I do not know how we can just rewire ourselves and allow ourselves to have it and say, you know
I would
what,
say
I can do it.
permission, when I write this word down, is remission. And we have to have a mission to start over. And being able to be loving ourselves is one thing. Like, how many times a day, especially, I don't say women, but just in general, I would look at myself before I was working out and before I was doing things, going, God, look at, you're ugly, you're fat, you're this, you're that. You say all this stuff to yourself. And women probably do that a lot more, I think, than men because it's a
Yes,
judgmental
a
thing,
lot
right?
more.
So you
Hmm.
have to be able to tell yourself, I'm beautiful. I tell this to my mom a lot. I say, tell yourself, and she's read my book, she does this thing, but she still feels this weirdness. And I did this. You look at the mirror and you go, I say, I'm handsome. And I go, yeah, bullshit. I go, or you say, you're beautiful. Yeah, right. And you hear this voice. That's the
Yep.
voice that says, you're ugly, you're fat, you can't ever, you're going to be like this the rest of your life. Right? So it's a
Yeah.
constant battle, right?
It is a battle, but that's why I always say, like, when you're a woman, you can never see me in sweats. Like my kids didn't know I had a pair of sweats. Why do I do it? I dress up. Even if I work from home, I go to grocery store, I will wear high heel shoes. Why? Because it makes me feel good. It makes me feel powerful. It makes me feel beautiful. And when I
Yeah.
look, I actually believe it. That
Mhm.
so there is no voice like, oh my gosh, you still need to lose 5 pounds. No.
Yeah,
I
you're
mean,
beautiful.
it's
You tell
just
yourself
like,
that in the mirror and you write it, maybe write it down even and Have women
Yeah.
that you divorce coach do that too. It's very hard in the first 28 days. I call it like a rehab, but they have to
Yes.
write down, I'm beautiful. What are three things you're grateful for? What are three things about you that you like? And they'll sit there and go, I don't know. And they don't know at first, maybe, right?
Yeah. But that's another thing. It's like learning about yourself. So for me, when I exited marriage, I didn't even know what I like to wear. I replenished, and again, from woman's perspective, that's a big thing. I replaced basically my entire wardrobe because everything that I wore back then no longer aligns with who I am today. So
Hmm.
now when I buy things, I never return because I know exactly what I like. I know how it fits on my body. I know what's flattering. I know what's not flattering. It works because I got to know myself and I am having fun with that. So when I work with women, sometimes they're like, yeah, I don't like this part about myself. Well, let's put you in a piece of clothing that makes you feel stunning. And that little thing that you thought was not perfect, all of a sudden looks perfect in the right style. Like it just, or you're not happy with something on your face. Let's get you the makeup that makes it you feel so damn beautiful that you're like, damn girl, I still got it. Like I want that. But for women, it's a lot of times, again, we're judged on our exterior. I mean, it is what it is. Make yourself look beautiful for you, not for anybody else. Do it for you. And I think like those exercises going like whether it's uncomfortable at the beginning, like dressing up just for yourself, because if you're constantly running into like in shorts and workout clothes, I always say, unless you're going to the gym, ditch those. Stop,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
So, but it is true. It's very difficult because there's always the small voice. You can say the words, but you know you don't believe it. So, what do you need to do in order for you to believe it? If it's not close, what is it? Is it the journaling? Is it the spirituality? Do you need to get a book that you resonate with the main character, and you're like, oh my gosh, yes, and I can see the path
Mhm.
forward because she did X, Y, and Z, and she's so badass and successful whatever it is needed for you to believe that you are a beautiful soul in and out.
And it's again a battle because I say you have to believe in order to receive, but sometimes what we perceive helps us not conceive that. And there's a lot of, words that I put together that make sense in relationships because if we constantly, and I've gone through this in dating where, oh, that reminds me of so and so, or that was like my ex did this. I'm like, I don't want to hear that. And
Yeah.
talking about people from our past on a first or second date, it's okay to have a conversation, but it's too
Mm-hmm.
much. I want to avoid this. I want to avoid
Yeah.
that. And
Yeah.
you're going to end up in it then.
Yeah. For me, I am learning, like, to me, if somebody starts talking about the ex on the first date, it's kind of a red
Mhm.
flag for me because I do not want to have a third person present in the relationship. I want to see where this dynamic is going, how we align. But I will get to know about your ex on the limited basis, but I really I don't want to be compared. I
Yeah,
don't want
that's the whole
to
thing.
hear about the ex all the time. And that's why when I, my biggest, but that's my boundary. What I discovered,
Yeah.
I don't date single dads. Period. Period. And why I decided this is the boundary for me, because there is always a third party present. The ex-wife, the mom is always there. And I don't
Yeah.
want a triangle. I want two of us in the
Mhm.
relationship. I want me focusing on you and I want you to focus on me. I don't want to hear, oh, the mom is going to be doing this and mom tax. Then there is always attachment and that invisible cord. And for me, and I'm like, I no, thank you.
Well, I
But
can hear
that's
that.
just
I
me.
like this because it's coming from a personal perspective, you, and then also what I see you doing for women because you're using your personal experience to
Yes.
help them as a divorce coach, saying this is what
I
works for me, right?
I give them different angles. So my job is not to tell you what to do. Like I can tell you, this is what works for me. This is my boundary, and this is why. This is one opinion. This is what I know a lot of people or women do who, like my other clients, they date the single dads because they think they understand or they want to co-parent or they want to be step parents. Great. You just need to understand what works for you and walk into it with eyes wide open. I have the same opinion when it comes to widowers and
Hmm.
why I am apprehensive about widowers because that was not a choice, right? When the a spouse passes away, but the spouse is now in some sort of pedestal and always exists there. So you can never measure up to that. So, because again, it
Yeah.
was a sudden change. And to me, again, that's just my personal opinion. I do not want to be put in competition with somebody who is no longer there, but there is always attachment there because of
Right.
the circumstances. So again, my job is to show multiple avenues, and my client's job is basically to decide what works for them.
Yeah, we have to be happy with ourselves. And in my case, after divorce in 2005, I didn't see her for another 14 years, ironically, but I was very close with her dad. Her dad was a big part of my life, very good
Okay.
friend. I found out, she remarried. She had actually a child later, which was a wonderful blessing in her life. And then to
Mm-hmm.
this day, we're still friends. I'm friends with the family. I'm very close with everyone. And then some people look at it like, ah, it's so weird. I don't have this ego that sat back and goes, well, I'm gonna show her. A lot of men
Mm-hmm.
do that. A lot of women can do that. I'll show you, and you live in vindictive rage,
Yep.
which equals anger, which equals depression, which equals, messing up your future. You're always living in one stage or the instead
Mm-hmm.
of the present, right?
You definitely, as a person who's rebuilding, you need to
Mhm.
make sure whatever you are doing, it's not to show them.
Yeah,
It's you are doing it for you because it matters to you. It's
exactly.
for your family, for your children, and most importantly, for you. What makes your cup full today? Not to
Mhm.
prove to them that you're better than you were when you were with them. It's
I
irrelevant.
know.
It's past. And to me, that's the same. Like when you become indifferent and disattached from the past, that's when you're in the most powerful position. Because at that point, whatever happens, you just move forward. In high conflict divorce, it can be a little more challenging because when past likes to come back and they like to just like pull you back in, and you're like, damn it.
Yeah,
Can I
bring you
just move
down.
on with my life? Yeah.
Yeah,
I always
there's
call it like
naysayers and
tentacles. It's
yeah, there's
octopus with
naysayers and
tentacles.
trash talkers, and the octopus of your life, the tentacles are bringing you back. And you know you're
Yep.
on the right path, though. And I help people in my coaching again the same way. You're on the right path when people start making comments like that. Well, you've never done that. You've always drank, in my case. You've always gone to bars. I'm not doing that
Hmm.
anymore. Or you've always dated these. You've always had these women problem, or, I'm not doing that anymore. So you just start, rebranding and refurbishing, redoing your life,
Hmm.
right?
Yep. And for me, it's always like when I was married, I was the most, for some reason, the most sheltered person. Like I didn't want to do much. I mean, we traveled, but considering I came from Russia, I have no family around. I'm just one person, immigrant, and I had like $500 in my pocket and a suitcase. I did not have a family to stay. I just landed. I'm like, shit, what am I doing next? That was my personality. Then I
Wow.
got married, and for some reason, all fears just like made me so sheltered. And now I'm like, people ask me, what do you like to do? And I'm like, I don't know. Like, I took myself to Europe, was it last year? And it was just 1 week. And I stayed Airbnbs and I just bounced from one place to another to another. No plan, no plan. I just got in and I explored. And that's the personality that I have right now. I want to learn something great. And I hear so many times people like, what can't you do? I'm like, I don't
I
know. I do
know,
not even
right?
know if that's a compliment now because then I'm like,
It is in a way
oh,
like I automatically think you're helping women do the same. What can't you
yes,
do is what you were told. You can't do this, you can't do that in a lot of narcissistic controlling relationships, right? The
yep.
man is saying that, so you're helping them, understand that they can have the command to expand and get out there and grow into the Wonder Woman they need to be, right?
Yeah, and but here's also it's a delicate balance because when I like I mentioned the body keeps score, right? I was so relieved I am not as strong as I thought I was. I want to be
Mhm.
a human. I'm very feminine. I know I'm very strong feminine, but I also realized that thank God I'm not as strong as I was, as I thought I was, because I'm human. I am human. I break down. I have my moments when I scream into the pillow. I have moments when I go and shoot my gun. I have moments when I sit down, play the piano, and like tears streaming down my face. It's all facets of being human. So, yes, I want to empower women that they're in control of their lives. They can do, nothing stops them to, if they want to learn dancing, great. You want to go learn golf or surfing? Great. Do that. Give yourself permission. But also do not harden yourself to the point where you're like, this is bullshit. Old people suck. Men are horrible. And my life was so bad. Like it has to be, you
You're
have to be in a place of balance, you know?
Yeah, the old you will win out every time. If we live like that,
Yeah.
we're going to be like that. We're never going to grow out of who we were. So we're going to be like,
Yeah.
and I again dated women like that. Well, this is my ex did this, my ex did that. They're living in the past, and that's a red flag, right? That's something that you got to get over. Got to spend time by yourself, and like you said, discover who you are and discover the new woman you are, because it's that shift and growth time, right?
Yep. Sign up for a little nunnery. Like it really
Yeah.
works. You need to
Well,
go
what I
into like
like about your
the
divorce coaching is if you Google it, I didn't know divorce coach. I mean, I've heard of it, but then this is kind of a new area, isn't it? If people can
yes, it
find you,
is.
tell us and tell the audience too about where they can find you and just, how much success you've had. Because divorce coaching, if I Google it, I think you're going to come up there pretty close, right? Get
Yeah,
found up there.
I mean, yes. So you can find me very easy. It's my website, thriveagaindivorcecoaching.com, or the same handle for Instagram. I am on YouTube because I host a podcast called Uncoupled and Unfiltered. So you have me there as well as on any podcast platform. And the podcast is all about resources and things that you will need to know going through divorce and rebuilding your life after. So the purpose of that is just we're talking about this life transition. And
Okay.
I also just launched highconflictplaybook.com. So this is the group live intensive. If you don't want to do one-on-one coaching, you can join a cohort of women going through similar situation when we break down what high conflict is all about and the strategy. So you walk out with a plan rather than just theory. So I teach you everything I learned the hard way and I paid for it. So, so you don't have to.
I want to show
Yeah,
you the
those.
easy way that you learn the hard way. That's what you tell people.
Yes. And to me, the biggest thing, and you're right, divorce coaching right now is becoming more prominent. But when I was going through divorce 6 years ago, I did not know about it. I needed one. I wish I had one. Um,
Mhm.
so it's the awareness that resources are available. And also another thing, divorce coaching is not a luxury item. Yes, you think because I have an attorney, I'm fine. It's not that. If you just have an attorney, you're going to spend way more money if you have the CDFA, the financial analyst who can plan, help you with divorce financials. If you have divorce coach who can plan you strategize and prepare for meetings, litigation, and calls with your attorney, so you don't spend on billable hours. You just have to be very, very smart the way you approach divorce. Yeah, and that's what divorce coaches do. We're the
Yeah,
quarterbacks.
that's five areas again, because they're not just going for the financial part. Like an attorney will help you financially, but divorce coaching, I hear, the physical, the mental, the emotional part, everything's
Yep,
aligned. Mentally and
yep,
emotionally, if you're drained, you're going to affect yourself physically. Alcoholism, escapism, going to bars, just not paying attention and trying to relax, and then too
yep,
much alcohol, and you have a lot of problems, right?
yep. I mean, that's I do not judge. It's just as long as you're aware of what's going on.
Right.
And yeah, but also when you go through divorce, a lot of times people hit depression. The rock bottom exists. It's just know when to reach out so it doesn't get too dark because you need to know where the light switch is. And the light switch, whether it's divorce coach, whether it's friends, whether it is the therapist, you just need to know when to ask for help. And that's a big one because there shouldn't be any shame asking for help.
Well, you brought a lot of help here today, and I appreciate it.
Well, thank
I'm going to
you.
have all your contact information below on the YouTube channel and links to connect everyone with you and your wonderful website. So I appreciate it. And any last words or thoughts for the day?
You know what? You got it. And a life ahead, no anxiety. It just visualize the way you want it to be and walk toward it one day at a time.
One day at a time. That's right. Well, thank you. You have a great day, and everyone else out there, thanks. Subscribe, like, and share. Push this on to other people out there, all the women that need it. And we'll go now and grow now. Take care.
All right.